Well, do it yourself is a big deal. It's a big genre, right? There's television shows and networks that are dedicated to DIY everything, right? Landscaping, design, home renovation. And that's a great approach to life, right? You taking care of business yourself. But when it comes to retirement planning, things get a little bit trickier. And really the stakes are elevated so much more than maybe messing up your backsplash in the kitchen, right? Trying to do it yourself. So today we're going to talk about DIY planning, what it actually looks like in practice, and why it can be dangerous to your retirement. Welcome in. Glad to have you on Perfect Game Retirement. Ron, I don't know if you watch much DIY television. It seems like you don't have a lot of free time today anyway, but do you ever throw on one of these DIY shows in the background while you're doing some stuff around the house?
I think like back in the day when we were first time like homeowners, we probably did, but yeah, I have zero time for any of that, and that's okay. So I mean, for example, we just recently, I think we spent $4,500 on pressure washing, staining our front deck, side deck, back deck, exterior. Can I use a paintbrush? Yes, I can. But they were in and out done. And to me, I'm like, yep, totally worth it. So I know I stay in my lane when it comes to cars. I'm not a car guy. My dad is. He can fix up cars. That's his thing. But I know to stay in my lane. There's certain things that I know I can do, I don't want to do, or don't have time to do. So I have to just look at, hey, is this worth my time or not? Especially in the phase of life we are in with two very active kids and my wife working as a veterinarian and myself. It's time value of money. And so a lot of times I just want those things done right now. And I pay my son to cut grass. It is awesome having a kid old enough to cut grass, and he loves it. He's motivated. So it's awesome. So yeah, the DIY approach can be very beneficial to a lot of things. Some people have the time, some people have the talent to do it, and sometimes even the patience to do it. But I know to stay in my lane, and I know nope, there's certain things I don't want to do, and leave it to the professionals.
Yeah. We had our deck redone last fall, and it was the same thing. My neighbor 2 doors down around the same time started doing it himself. And I was like, that's admirable. I can respect that, and probably saving a lot of money. But it was about 8 months went by until the project was finally done. And that's fine if you don't have much to worry about, right? But yeah, to your point, paying for services is usually money well spent in many cases. But let's talk DIY planning, because it's a little bit of a different animal. And there's a lot of people probably that are watching videos like this one that don't have a financial advisor, trying to determine whether it's worth working with a financial advisor. For the people that you come across in this position, Ryan, I'm sure there's a lot of them that they reach out just to pick your brain a little bit, get a better sense of what Black Oak Asset Management does. What do you find are their main reasons why they do this DIY planning?
Yeah, I mean, there could be a variety, but there's definitely a few that, obviously you can go on your computer and Google search, you can go on all these AI engines and put information in and have this done for you, which is fine. So there are plenty of people out there who are savvy enough to maybe do it and be successful at it. So this topic may be a very biased video, but there are some that can. They may be very simplistic. When I mean simplistic, they may have a pension and Social Security and maybe one retirement account and maybe no heirs, or, I'm just throwing examples out there, and maybe they don't need it. Maybe they don't feel like paying an advisor to help out with that is not worth their time. And that's okay. It kind of goes back to your neighbor who did the deck. That's fine. If they want to put the time and effort in and want to do it and not pay for someone to do it, that's fine. That saves them money. Obviously, again, kind of flipping on the other side of a bias approach. I feel like when you have people that are experts in what they do and they do it all day long, that we don't want to be seen as a cost. If we're seen as a cost, it's not a right fit for us, because they're going to nitpick everything. We want people that say, I need help. When I take my car into the shop, I need help. I need this fixed. I cannot do it. Maybe I can, but it would take me way too long, and then I wouldn't be super confident that it was done right. I used to do my own oil changes. I used to rotate my tires myself, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't have time to do that anymore. So that's where an advisor can come into play, just to take that piece of your life, and as long as you have a trusted relationship, take that peace of mind and take that out. Enjoy your retirement. You've been working your whole life. Again, some people are nerds like me at heart and they want to do it on their own. That is fine. Again, like I said, they're not an ideal client for us, and that's okay. There's plenty of people out there that come to us and they just say, help, I'm not sure what to do here. And maybe they do even are pretty savvy at this stuff, but there's still nuances that they may be missing. Just like some of the data that you put into a chat GPT, for an example, it may spit out data, but you may not be asking the right questions. You may not be putting the right info in. So it only spits out what you put in. And ask the certain questions that you do. So a lot of people come in because it's a cost thing. They just don't feel like they need to. They don't see an advisor as a value add. Maybe they had a bad experience with an advisor. I talked to a person not too long ago who was a referral from a client, and he had 3 bad experiences with clients. So yeah, sometimes it's hard for us to overcome that because they've had, not 1, not 2, but 3 times. So we try to say, hey, we're good at what we do. Here's kind of proof in the pudding, but they still have to make that decision. So a lot of times they just don't feel the need, or they just don't want to pay the expense of an advisor.
Yeah, well, much like you do in your own car, right? There comes a point where you decide, okay, I got to actually take this in, right? Something triggers you. For people in this situation with planning, what's usually some of the things or some of the triggers that actually get them motivated to go in and sit down with a financial advisor, a certified financial planner like yourself, to start actually, hey, let's get some help doing this planning?
Yeah, it's usually a life event. Usually, that could be a death, that could be a divorce, that could be a job change, that could be a marriage, that could be retirement. It's usually something that triggers, or maybe they saw their parents experience something. They're like, yeah, that's not going to be me. So I'm going to fix that. I'm going to hire someone to do that. So it's usually some sort of an experience, or just a lack of knowing the industry. My wife, she's good at what she does. She's a veterinarian and she's good at that. But when it comes to numbers, she's good at science. Numbers, not so much. So she starts spitting all these medical terms to me, and it is like, it is way over my head. I'm like, hey, you need to dumb that down. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it's just this. I'm like, why didn't you say that? Well, that's her language that she speaks. I come in and say certain things and she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So then same thing. So it's usually some sort of a life event that say, hey, I've screwed this up, or, I'm about to retire in 5 years. I need to know if I can retire, or my spouse just passed away. They kind of did the finances in our family and I have no idea what to do. So it's some sort of a life event that usually happens, or a mistake that they may have made and said, look, I need to turn this over to a professional.
Well, if somebody's watching this and says, okay, well, I haven't gotten to that point yet, and, I still think maybe I can do this all myself. Let's point out some mistakes that happen commonly that you see, Ryan, and maybe provide a little more motivation, because I know there are probably some things that you see happen over and over again, some common planning mistakes that people make doing it themselves that they probably wouldn't if they were working with someone.
Yeah, again, this could be a whole show in itself, this question, but maybe just like the structure of what you have, what types of accounts you have. Can you fund these certain types of accounts? Are you taking full advantage of those accounts? A very simple example is when I ask people about their 401k, are you maxing it out? They'll say, oh yeah, I'm maxing it out. Like, do you really know what that means? Some people do. Some people knows that they can go up to that limit of their age, up to that certain dollar amount, depending on, obviously we're in 2026 right now recording this, but you may be watching this at a later date, but you go up to that maximum threshold that you can put in. If you're over 50, you even have an extra amount. If you're 60 to 63, there's even an additional amount. Do you know that? Do you know what that dollar amount is? But a lot of times people say, oh, I'm maxing out my 401k. They're just maxing out the match. So if they put in 6, they get 3%, or if they put in 5%, they get 4%. So they think that's a maxing it out. Now, maybe it is based off of your income. That 5%, depending on what your income is, still could get you to that maximum limits. But again, the structure, the types of accounts you have, and then the types of investments that you have in each account, that could have a tax impact. So sometimes people don't realize, like, oh, if I just put this in this account, then it's taxed differently than if it's in here. So that's another reason why. So, but then you just start throwing in tax planning, you start throwing in estate planning, which are all the things that we do, especially from an estate standpoint. That can get overwhelming, especially when people pass away. They just don't know the steps in which they need to do like, what's my first 5 things I need to do? So we lay that out for them. We get the unfortunate news that a client's died. Then we reach out to their spouse or their beneficiaries and say, okay, here's everything you need to do. Do these first 5 things. Check those off your list, because it's very overwhelming when those things happen. And again, I've said it several times on this show or the radio show. Again, I had a client who said, I don't know how people do this on their own, especially during this time. And it was a time where my client was very sick. He did pass away soon after, but he's like, I don't know how people don't do this without some sort of a planner in their corner.
Yeah, no question about it. You can go to speakwithryan.com if you just want to sit down and have a conversation, right, to kind of figure out, hey, what are some areas maybe that I could use a little bit of help? What am I maybe not doing well or to the best of my ability, right? And that's what this first conversation can accomplish, Ryan. Even if someone's still hesitant, there's still value in taking that initial meeting and conversation to begin talking through some of these things.
Yeah, the introductory call that we do with people, it is mostly them talking, not us. I just want to hear where they're coming from. The situation they're in, the questions that they do have, maybe the pain points that they do have, and they're starting to feel their way. Now, some people who we take a call with, they're ready to move forward, but even we push the brakes on that. We'll have a good phone call, but then I'm like, okay, the next step is an in-person meeting or a Zoom call, depending on where you're located. And just have a more in-depth conversation. They're like, oh, do I need to bring statements? I'm like, nope, do not bring statements, because you're not signing anything that first meeting. We're just trying to figure out if definitively it is a right fit. And then it's after that first in-person meeting or Zoom call that people decide to either move forward or not, pump the brakes, go with another advisor, whatever it may be. So the first kind of 2 steps, kind of part 1A and part 1B, there's no commitment whatsoever. Then it's after that we lay out the steps of what that looks like.
All right, very good. Well, it all starts by going to speakwithryan.com. All that contact information down in the show description for you to make it easy for you. You can also check out the website, blackoakam.com, to learn more. But DIY is great, but there's a lot of things to be thinking about and a lot of help you can get from someone that does this every single day. Hopefully this gets you thinking a little bit more. If it did, please subscribe. We appreciate that support as well. We'll talk to you again right here on Perfect Game Retirement.